Hey guys, Babe Prieto here with Intimacy with Injury. The topic of today's video is sex and MS. Now in this video I'm going to give you a recipe for 5-star sex. Okay, so listen up, I'm going to give those to you in a few moments. But first, while I was doing research on this topic, I came across an article written by Dr. Melissa Tuffield, a psychologist that deals with issues specifically around MS. She went to an MS conference and she was startled to find that only 23 seconds were used to discuss the topic of sex. This is mind-blowing. The National MS Society has shown us that 91% of males with MS and 72% of females with MS suffer from some type of sexual problem. So if it's that big, why aren't our professionals talking about it? Which begs the question, how are we going to feel comfortable talking to them if they place such little importance on it? But one of the most important things we need to realize is that disease does not divorce us from our need for deep intimacy and connection. All too often, a diagnosis of disease will change our daily routines, it'll change our views of our future, and it's leaving us grasping for any kind of certainty and connection out there, especially from our partners. And with all the different issues that come up with MS, such as decreased sensation, it can even occur in the genitalia, stiffness of the muscles, also called spasticity, fatigue, pain, decreased lubrication and vaginal tone, erectile dysfunction, and the grand poobah, which is more difficulty achieving orgasm. With all these things snowballing one on top of each other, it's going to lead to a decreased self-esteem, a decline in our body image, could even lead to depression, and ultimately the end of a relationship. I work with a gentleman right now who's 37 with MS. He got divorced from his wife after 5 years of having the diagnosis, and I think it's sad. It's not what he wanted, but it happened, okay? And it takes two to tango, so we don't know the details, but the fact is we can try to keep that connection alive, guys. Don't let it slip away. And one of the best ways to do that is doing something both people enjoy, and that's making love to each other. So let's get started, okay? So I'm gonna give you that recipe for having extremely great sex, but today I'm going to give you the ingredients. In the next video, I'll give you the instructions on what to do with those ingredients. Let's get started. Okay, number one, commitment. Okay, you must know the why behind what you're doing. If you don't know the why, you're going to lack the discipline and patience to hang in there, to go over the long haul, okay? The why is, I don't want my relationship to end. I don't want my marriage to end. I don't want my kids to have to go back and forth between different homes for their childhood lives. It could be whatever it is for you, but you need to find your why so that you hang in there. The second part of commitment is committing to leave your judgment at the door. Okay, finding patience and love in each other is going to allow you to build more intimacy. Folks, we are two imperfect beings trying to create a perfect relationship, and it ain't gonna happen. We are two imperfect beings just trying to create an amazing relationship, and it can happen, okay? So for commitment, find your why and commit to leave judgment at the door. Number two, with intimacy, we need to learn to expand our definition of intimacy. Some people get it, some people need a little more work with it, okay? Intimacy does not begin when you start to undress. Intimacy begins the moment you have contact with your partner, either at home in the morning or with a text during the day or a phone call. That starts to build that anticipation to see them. And once it builds that anticipation, you know, you can run with that. Hey baby, I'm so excited about our date tonight. I can't wait to hold you and please you. You know, how would you feel if you got that text? Pretty good, right? Versus not hearing from your partner through most of the day, or maybe the first text that you get is, hey, how are you? The ride to work was really tough. I'll see you later. You know, the whole way that we communicate sets up the mood and the tone for what happens later, which is the next aspect, and it's communication. There are two types of communication. Whenever you're going to engage in a sexual encounter, you must communicate verbally with each other. In this situation, you need to talk about, well, you know, that feels really good, or yeah, can you do that more, or try going a little bit over to the left, or, you know, just any kind of communication that's going to guide your partner. Let them know that you're feeling good, but also let them know when you're not. Like, hey, this really kind of causes pain in my low back. Can we change positions a little? That is going to help them build trust, okay? Both of you, you're going to allow that trust to build intimacy as well. The second part of communication is nonverbal communication. Now, there's tons of different nonverbal communication, but we're going to focus on foreplay. Okay, that foreplay is so critical in any kind of injury or disease and engaging in sexual activity, because oftentimes the actual active intercourse is going to have to be shorter because there might be some limitation with position or pain. So we need to maximize the foreplay, and foreplay is what builds the intimacy. I want you to imagine the intercourse as being the icing, and everything that comes before that as the cake. I don't know about you, but I don't eat cake just to get to the icing. I want it all, okay? So we need to communicate with each other and be patient. The last part is planning. We need to plan a date. Set aside time that's not going to be restricted by different things you have to do or other responsibilities. Set a place that both of you are really comfortable with, without distractions. And also with MS, if your spasticity tends to be greater than normal, you might have to plan around the time you take your medication for 1 to 2 hours afterwards, so that the spasticity is at its lowest point. Okay, so the recipe for great sex is commitment. Remember the 2 key components: finding your why and leaving your judgment at the door. Then redefining intimacy is number 2. Expand it, expand your mind, and you'll expand your experience. Then there's communication. You must communicate verbally and non-verbally. Use toys. Get that arousal level up, and you'll find that it does wonders for increasing that vaginal lubrication or the erectile issues. And then number 4, plan something special. It doesn't matter that you're losing a little bit of spontaneity. You're gaining so much more in trust and knowing that your partner desires you and wants you. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions, look on my website, intimacywithinjury.com. Feel free to call me. I'd love to talk to you and help you. Okay, with that, look out for that next video coming in a week's time, and we're going to mix those ingredients to have the final bit of the recipe and ignite that passion in your lives.